I just wanted to say too that this new building is a team of designers, but the lead architect is Joe Lobko, right?
Yeah.
Who also did the Arts Barns. So,
wow.
Yeah.
We have actually, it's a huge team who've been working on this. Joe Lobko's team just sort of looked over the whole site, and then each building was sort of chosen by a design firm. Diamond and Schmidt designed this one. Joe and his team actually designed the marche. We have ERA Heritage Architects who help with the overall vision for the site also. But they've really honed in on this Discovery building, which was Phase 2 piece.
Well, but that's really exciting because I feel like often when there's one site, everything kind of has this like swath look of all very kind of like the same design kind of, and it's a really interesting idea to have different creative people working on different parts of it so that you really get like more of a feeling of like, you know, diversity in different spaces that have a different feel to them.
Yes, yeah. We kind of think of this as a village. And so not every piece will look the same, and each piece will have a different function. So we talk about it as a village or a campus type nature. So it's not all one building.
Not one look, kind of not one style, not one approach.
Yeah.
For just a little bit of the nitty gritty of that process, so you had sort of the Joe Lobko, and there was another firm that sort of did the master plan sort of for the site, it sounds like?
Yeah, the master plan was done by a different firm.
Okay.
It was Architects Alliance.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Okay. Something like that. So then you sort of divided up different chunks of that plan, and did you put like a request for proposals out there for different teams to submit their vision for different components, or just a little bit about how that process worked?
Okay. So how that happened was you would do a master plan first, which is the overall visioning. What do you want this project to look like? And so Architects Alliance worked with a series of firms to do that, but they all put in a bid together. So they were the lead, Architects Alliance. After that, then you put out a call for proposals for the detailed design process, and that's where you start to get into the gritty, like how is the lighting in this building work, what's the floor like, what are the electrical components, etc., etc.
Right.
So we put out a call for the detailed design, and that's Joe Lobko's firm who responded. Well, actually, it was a series of firms who responded, but their team actually won the competition.
Yeah.
And so it was Joe Lobko in addition to about 20 or 15 or so other groups. So there's Halsum, who were their structural engineers, Stantec, mechanical, electrical engineers. There's TSH, who do all the stormwater management work. So it's just, it's a huge, huge list. Yeah. He's fantastic. Yeah, he came up with this concept of sort of this polka dot look for different spaces. Yeah, he was fun in some meetings. He just had these wild, giant ideas. You know. Once we got into the detailed designs of it, we realized that you can actually have a continuous building there. But within his group, there's about 4 architect firms. He's the lead one, but all these other architect firms were giving guidance, and it ended up so that they kind of just worked on separate buildings.
Cool. Okay. And was there something we've been doing a lot of work around, or some of us, not everybody in the group, but a few of us have been doing a lot of work around sort of integrated design process in relation to projects we've been working on in Montreal. So I'm just curious, over the course of such a huge, ambitious, and long-term process, did you have like Alliance Architects? If there were some issues with the master plan, were they there at the table working with Joe Lobko and the other firms sort of all together throughout the process? Did you have an integrated process, or
it was 2 very distinct moments, I guess.
Yeah.
And Architects Alliance never really came to the detailed planning stages.
Okay. Did you invite them or intend for that to happen, or just sort of the approach was that they were 2 separate phases?
I'm not sure really. I don't think we ever felt the need to call on them for what we were working on, like the second phase of it.
Yeah.
But we certainly met with hundreds of groups and other comparable sites around the world. We did a lot of field trips. Shauna and David from our office, they both went to the Eden Project in England and checked it out. Because there's a lot of comparable, a lot of links between what they're doing and what we're doing.
And there's been regular community consultation throughout the process, particularly this is right in the Rosedale neighborhood, and many of those people were concerned about what the site would bring to their life up there, and in terms of noise and volume of traffic in what they perceive of as a very beautiful and private park in a sense. So anyway, so.
What did those look like a little bit? Sort of like a glimpse of one of those meetings, or who was kind of showing up, or
we had a series of the meetings. We had one specifically for geology, where we invited like all the geology buffs of Toronto, and then one about the environment, native plants. And we had about 100 people show up to that one to give their thoughts on that. But then we had giant open community consultation meetings where anybody was invited, and generally people were on board with it. I mean, it was some typical concerns, which is parking, flooding. How's it going to impact wildlife in the back? And we'd done enough research at that point that we had a good idea of how to respond to that.
So it was really more of like a consultation rather than a group planning process. Essentially, you presented what you were planning to do with it, like concerns, and you responded to those. But there wasn't really a large part of it, like being like citizens trying to plan what's going to happen.
Oh, okay. Sorry, maybe I should retract that. For early stages, yes, we had meetings where like, what do you want to see here?
Okay.
What do you want in your backyard, essentially? Do you want food programming? Do you want more heritage here?
So it was like the phase, that was like the early part where you looked at the global vision.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we started to get more specific in the meetings, like, okay, so this is our transportation plan. What do you think of it? Comments, suggestions, ideas.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
And were at that point in some of those like global vision meetings, did you have the Alliance architects like there working with you at that point and hearing what people wanted as a global vision? Or was that before you were with them?
When we were doing our master planning, we had Architects Alliance come to some of the consultation meetings. And then for design, once we got into detailed designs, we continued to have consultation meetings with the public, and we invited the architects to come down and present. And we felt that was important that they were there to hear directly from the community what their concerns were.